The idea that slavery was always black and only black is historically wrong, and it only survives for one reason, because most people learn history through trauma narratives and not records. So let's deal in facts. Slavery was not invented for black people. Slavery is older than race categories by thousands of years. Every ancient civilization practiced it. Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Rome, China, Africa, Europe, and the Americas. Slaves were captured enemies, debtors, criminals, conquered populations. The skin color was irrelevant. And for most of recorded history, the majority of slaves weren't black. They were Europeans, Asians, Middle Easterners, Slavs, North Africans, and indigenous peoples. The word slave literally comes from Slav. The transatlantic slave trade is just one chapter, not the whole book. Europeans were enslaved for centuries. Millions of white Europeans were taken by the Barbary slave trade, the Ottoman Empire, Islamic caliphates, and rival European powers. Many were sold, many were castrated, and many died in slavery long before the Atlantic trade ever peaked. And here's the part that people hate hearing. Africans enslaved Africans. African kingdoms captured and sold rival tribes. The Atlantic trade didn't involve Europeans raiding the interior en masse. It relied on existing slave networks. That doesn't excuse European participation, it just corrects the lie that slavery was racially one-directional. Now, let's be precise. American chattel slavery was unique. Not universal, unique. Because of permanence, because of racial codification and hereditary status and legal dehumanization. That system was evil, full stop. But it does not equal all slavery everywhere. And it doesn't define all black history. And here's where this becomes a covenant problem. When people believe that all slaves are black, all blacks were slaves, and suffering equals chosenness, they replace covenant obedience with victim identity. And scripture never does that. Israel was enslaved in Egypt, then judged. Israel was exiled to Babylon, then judged. So suffering did not equal righteousness. Obedience did. So why does this myth persist? Because it gives moral leverage, because it simplifies history, and because it turns trauma into identity, and it excuses personal accountability. And once identity is built on suffering, the truth feels like an attack. But here's the part that matters. The covenant doesn't care about racial mythology. The Torah doesn't ask what color were your ancestors, who oppressed your people, how much did they suffer. The Torah asks, who do you serve? Do you obey? Do you walk humbly? And do you keep covenant? That standard cuts through every racial narrative on earth. So no, slavery was not always black. It was not only black. And suffering does not make anyone chosen. The covenant does not validate ignorance just because it's emotional. And the truth doesn't bend to trauma, and history doesn't care who it offends.